Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells? Like one wrong word, one slightly off-key opinion, and suddenly you're the bad guy. It feels like every day there's a new moral battleground on social media, in the news, even at the dinner table. One minute you're talking about a movie, the next you're in a heated debate about its hidden political agenda. It's exhausting, right? The world feels so morally confusing. We're all trying to be good people, but the rules seem to change constantly. How do we navigate this chaos? How can we think clearly about right and wrong without becoming cold, cynical, or just plain mean to each other? It's tempting to just pick a side and stick to it, no matter what. It's simple, it's clean, and you get to be part of a team. But this often leads to what some call contempt. It's that feeling of looking down on someone, seeing them not just as wrong, but as worthless or stupid. We see it all the time online. People aren't just disagreeing, they're dismissing each other as evil or ignorant. But contempt is like a poison. It doesn't solve anything. It just deepens the divide and makes us feel awful. It closes our minds and hardens our hearts. The other extreme isn't much better. To avoid conflict, some of us just check out. We stop having opinions altogether. We say things like, well, everyone's got their own truth, and just float along. But that doesn't feel right either, does it? We know deep down that some things are genuinely wrong. Standing by while injustice happens isn't being kind, it's being passive. We want to be honest and stand for what's right, but we don't want to be harsh or self-righteous bullies. So, what's the middle path? How do we find that sweet spot between moral clarity and genuine compassion? It's not about having all the answers. It's about developing better habits for how we think. Let's start with a really simple but powerful habit: defining our terms. Think about it. How often do we argue about big words like justice, freedom, or fairness without ever stopping to ask, wait, what do we actually mean by that? I might say a policy is unjust because it creates unequal outcomes, while you might think it's just because it gives everyone an equal opportunity. We're using the same word, but we're speaking different languages. Before you jump into a debate, take a second. Ask yourself, and maybe even the other person, when we say justice, what are we really talking about? This simple step can turn a shouting match into a real conversation. It forces us to be clear in our own minds first, which is half the battle. Next up, let's talk about evidence. In the age of instant information, we're drowning in headlines, memes, and hot takes. It's easy to form an opinion based on a single, emotionally charged story. But good moral reasoning requires more than just a gut feeling. It requires us to be a little more like detectives. When you hear a claim, especially one that makes you really angry or really happy, get curious. Ask, what's the evidence for this? Is this a one-off story, or is it part of a larger pattern? Are there statistics or studies that back this up? This doesn't mean you need a PhD in every subject. It just means cultivating a habit of looking beyond the initial emotional reaction. It means favoring reliable sources over sensationalist ones. This practice helps ground our moral judgments in reality, not just in how we feel in the moment. It makes our convictions stronger because they're built on a solid foundation. Now, for the hardest habit of all. Humility, moral humility, is the understanding that you might be wrong. That's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? Our egos love to be right. But true wisdom begins with recognizing the limits of our own knowledge and experience. We all see the world through a tiny little keyhole, shaped by our upbringing, our culture, and our personal lives. Someone else, looking through their own keyhole, is going to see things differently. Humility isn't about having no convictions. It's about holding our convictions with an open hand, not a clenched fist. It means being willing to genuinely listen to someone who disagrees with you, not just waiting for your turn to talk, but actually trying to understand why they believe what they believe. Ask questions like, can you help me understand your perspective? Or what experiences have led you to that conclusion? You might not change your mind, and that's okay, but you will almost certainly understand the issue in a more complex, nuanced way. And more importantly, you'll see the other person as a person, not a caricature. You'll be disagreeing without contempt. Let's put this all together. Imagine you're scrolling online and see a post that infuriates you. It's about a topic you care deeply about, and the post seems completely wrong, maybe even dangerous. The old you might have fired off an angry comment full of outrage. But the new you, the clear-thinking you, takes a breath. First, you ask about definitions. What does the person who wrote this actually mean by this word they're using? Is it the same way I'm using it? Then you look for evidence. Is this claim supported by facts, or is it just an emotional rant? Let me do a quick search from a couple of reliable sources. And finally, you practice humility. You think, is there any part of their argument that might have a grain of truth? What life experience could make someone believe this? Maybe you still decide to comment, but now your comment is different. It's not an attack. It might be a thoughtful question. It might be a counter-argument that presents your evidence clearly and calmly. You are staying honest about your beliefs, but you're not being harsh. You are engaging with the idea, not assassinating the person's character. This isn't about being perfect. We will all slip up. We'll get angry, we'll be stubborn, we'll be wrong. The goal isn't moral perfection. The goal is to build the mental muscles for better moral thinking. It's a practice, like meditating or going to the gym. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. By focusing on definitions, seeking evidence, and practicing humility, you're not just learning to argue better, you're learning to think better. You're learning how to hold onto your moral compass without letting it turn you into a cold, judgmental person. In a world that wants to pull us to extremes. Finding this balance is a quiet act of rebellion. It's a way to bring a little more light and a little less heat into our conversations. It allows us to be both strong in our convictions and soft in our hearts. It's how we stay human in an age of moral confusion. So next time you find yourself in a tricky conversation, give it a try. Define, seek evidence, and stay humble. You might be surprised at how much clearer the world starts to look. Thanks for watching today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. How do you navigate these difficult conversations? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on thinking clearly in a complicated world. See you next time.